In this video, I will be showing you one method for solving drawing 1-9, the template. Taking a look at my drawing, it appears as though I have a lot of different dimensions, and again I need to find a starting point. And I believe on this particular one I'm going to start by attempting to locate all of the center marks. So I'm going to start off of this larger circle, and in AutoCAD I'm just going to start and place a line, a couple lines there, and use that as my starting point. Now this circle, we have our vertical line that we drew. The distance from this vertical line to this line is 0.88, and that should be the same on this side as well. So I'm going to offset 0.88 to help me place those. Let's shorten these up a little bit. And if I take a look at my horizontal line, the distance from here to here is 2.13. So let's go ahead and offset 2.13, and we'll extend these up so we can get the points of intersection. And I'm actually going to shorten this one up and add a second line just so I don't get as confused. So I have these top ones, the distance from my horizontal line down, 2.12, offset 2.12, and my vertical line comes all the way through. Let's go ahead and add another little line here, shorten this up. Alright, and we need our lines out on the edges. We'll get rid of these lines here. So I have my vertical line, the distance from my center vertical line over. We have a couple measurements here, 1.25, 1.76, 1.25. Now I could do some math and figure this out, or I could just take a look, and I've already offset this center line 0.88. I could then offset that center line over 1.25. Let's offset these over, and we can bring these points down. And put some lines that are crossing in here. Alright, so that should give me all of those center points. So I'm going to come in and go ahead and do all my circles. My large circle in the center has a diameter of 2.5. Let's draw a circle with a diameter 2.5. My smaller circles here, I can see that I have a radius of 0.31, which is pointing to this circle. And down here I have a indication that says there's 5 circles with a diameter measurement of 0.62. And sometimes on drawings you have information that's not needed. So in this case, Obviously a radius is half of the circle, which is 0.31. If you double that, you would get 0.62. So that's a dimension that we wouldn't need this radius dimension. We could figure this out based on just this one dimension. And when we get into dimensioning in the future lessons, this is one of the things that you're going to have to look for, is to make sure that you don't have too many dimensions. So we're going to create those circles at 0.62 diameter. So I'm going to come in here and do my first one, circle center diameter 0.62, and instead of doing the other circles at 0.62 and coming up here and clicking this button and typing it in, I'm going to use a shortcut method for duplicating those circles. I'm going to select the circle. Now in most computer programs, if you hold Control and press C, it will copy the circle. That will do that in this program as well. So just to test this out, we're going to do Control C and then Control V, which pastes. However, we are pasting from the bottom left-hand corner of the circle. And I don't want that because then I can't get it exactly where I want it to be. Instead, I'm going to select my circle by left-clicking one time. I'm going to hold Control, hold Shift, and then press C. So this is Control Shift C, and this is going to allow us to copy with a base point. And right down here in the command line it says to copy with a base point. Now what this means is I'm going to be selecting a point on the circle that I want my object to be based off of. So I'm going to select that center point. Now when I go to paste it, I'm going to do Control V to paste it. It will paste it based on my base point, which is the center. So I can come in here and just click right on the center, come over here, Control V, center, Control V, Control V. And that is one method to speed things up just a little bit and help things go a little bit faster. So we have all our circles in. Let's move on and let's start doing the outside of our object. I know that my horizontal center line is 4.88 from the bottom. So let's go ahead and put that one in. Offset 4.88. So that's our bottom piece. Oh. Here's our bottom piece. I am at a 45-degree angle. However, I do not have a measurement for how long our bottom piece is. So I'm not sure where to exactly start. So let's move on and see if we can get these left and right sides. So we have an overall width of our object of 5.5. If I divide 5.5 by 2, I get 2.75. So I can offset my center line 2.75. So we'll go offset 2.75, offset that center mark. Let's jump back, and now we have a measurement that shows that we are only a 1/2 inch up and a 1/2 inch below that center mark. Offset 1/2 inch above and below. Let's go ahead and bring these over. Trim off these pieces that I don't need. I'm going to go ahead and delete these as well because I am not going to need those. Well, we'll see if we need them. We can always put them back in. Now I'm going to delete the right side, take my left side, mirror, so I don't have to remeasure all that out. Now I have a reference point. So I have this line that's an inch, then I have this angled line that is at 45-degree angle. So I can come in here and draw my line 45 degrees, trim off the extra, take this, mirror, based off of the center, trim off my extra piece. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. So now I need to figure out this top part. I already have my center marks, and I need to know what this radius is. So if we take a look around, there is no real apparent measurement for it. So let's see what else we can do here. We have, let's change colors here. We have this arc right here. Let's grab a different color, and we'll make this a little bit thicker so it's easier to see. So we got this arc coming up, and that flows smoothly into this top piece. And there is a point of tangency located right here. So we need to, we know this is a radius of 1.25, but there is no center mark location to help us determine where exactly to make that circle. However, we do know that since it has a radius of 1.25, if we were to create a circle going all the way around, using this as a reference point right down here, we take this straight up, we could take this straight across. Now, because this is a radius, we know that our lower quadrant point up to our center point would be 1.25. So let's take over to our drawing. I'm going to do a construction line. I'm going to draw this up 1.25. Okay, that should be the radius of that circle. So now when I do a circle with a radius of 1.25, it goes in there real nicely. So let's go ahead and do a construction line over to the right. Let's trim off the pieces that we don't need. So we'll get rid of these. Mirror this over. Go ahead and change those back to our object layer. And so we're coming along here. So let's jump back to our drawing and get rid of some of these lines so we can see what to do next. So if we zoom in here, we created this circle coming up. We knew that we had a point of reference on the bottom and a point of reference over here, and we use that to help draw our circle. We want this top arc, but there's no apparent measurements for it. We know that our center point is right here, but we need to figure out where exactly to, we know where to start it, but we don't know how far out to make it. Well, if we look a little bit closer, if we take our right quadrant point and draw a line straight up, then we can create a circle with a radius, start our center point in the center that we've already identified, and just bring that straight out until we hit our vertical line. So let's see what that's going to look like. So I'm going to take we'll do this in the construction line layer. We're going to take that right quadrant point. We're going to draw a line straight up. We're going to create a circle with a radius. I'm going to select my first point as that center point, and I'm just going to pull it straight to the left until I touch that left line. Let's go ahead and mirror this to the other side. And now we have a line on top that is tangent to our two circles. So we will draw this over, trim off what we don't need, and we have to mirror this little tiny line. Trim, and that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and convert these back to object layer, and now we have the shape of our object. Let's go ahead and do our center marks, but I'm going to teach you a different method for doing center marks. So this method for doing center marks is a little bit different. What I want you to do is delete out all of your center marks that we had used to draw the drawing. I'm going to switch into the center line layer. I'm going to come up to the tab at the top of the screen. Keep in mind I'm in center line layer because I'm doing some center marks. In the annotate tab, I want you to come over here and find the button that is dimension center mark, and go ahead and left click on that one time. We're going to come down here and we're going to select our circle. Now what that'll do is that will automatically create that center mark for whatever arc or circle that we created. It's quite a bit faster than the previous method. However, in some drawings you still need to use that previous method of offsetting the line 2 times each way and trimming off and all that. But from here on out, for most of the drawings that you do, this method will help speed things up. So once again, we'll come up here to dimension center mark, and we'll just select the circle. Select the circle, and we're just going to go around and do that. Now let's take a look at the original drawing. Okay, you'll notice that our center line between our two circles travels the entire distance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my center mark. I'm going to pull it over to the end of my previous one right here. Now there's 2 lines. There's a little line underneath that one. You need to select that and delete that out. Alright. Now with center marks, you want them to extend outside of the object a little bit. So we're going to take our center mark and just pull these outside just a little ways. In situations like this where we have a center mark kind of in the middle of our part, you don't want to pull it clear outside your part because that's too confusing. It makes the drawing too messy. So you can just leave that going a little bit outside of that circle there. Let's check this. Okay, now this center mark, we should be able to extend our center line to fill this gap as well, since all these are lined up. So I'm going to take this here and we're going to extend it to the end, delete out that little part. Same thing over here, and delete out that little part. And everything else is looking pretty good. We could extend some of these outside, but it's not entirely necessary. One last look at everything, and I think everything's looking pretty good on this drawing. So we'll go ahead and save this as, this would be drawing 1-9, so I'm going to save this as Olson 1-9. And we should be ready to plot it out.